The good news just keeps pouring in for CJ Holmes. Over the weekend, it was reported that Holmes, dismissed by Notre Dame last January, would be walking on at Penn State. Tuesday, the trigger behind the running back's Fighting Irish dismissal is set to be put behind him as well. Good news. The state of Indiana has filed a motion to dismiss a misdemeanor conversion shoplifting charge against CJ Holmes. The former NDFB running back was arrested December 15 in Mishawaka. Holmes is reportedly joining Penn State's team as a walk-on. https://t.co/xnumvainrapic.twitter.com/yj4yazivs. Judith Andrew Wynn. July 3, 2018. Holmes was arrested for shoplifting last December and was subsequently suspended from Notre Dame's bowl game. That suspension ultimately gave way to the dismissal from the football program nearly a month later. This past in South Bend, Holmes ran for 32 yards on 8 carries. The Connecticut high school product was a 4-star member of the Fighting Irish's 2017 recruiting class, rated as the number 19 running back in the country on 247sports.com's composite board. It had been reported early last month that Holmes was headed to a Mississippi junior college for the 2018, but those plans appear to have changed. Terrell Owens, no stranger to controversy, drew ire last month when he announced he will skip the festivities in Canton despite entering the Pro Football Hall of Fame on August 4. On Tuesday, Owens, pictured above on the sidelines at the Chattanooga, Alabama football game in 2016, announced he would mark the occasion with a speech at his alma mater. After giving it much thought, I have realized just how much I want to celebrate what will inevitably be the best weekend of my life at a place that means so much to me, he said. I'm proud to be a MOC, and am honored to share this experience with my family, friends, teammates and fans at the place that provided me an opportunity beyond high school and where I truly began to find myself as an athlete. Thank you to everyone who has supported my celebration decision. I look forward to seeing you all in Chattanooga. Get your popcorn ready. In addition to catching 115 passes in 3 years for the Mocs, Owens also lettered on a Chattanooga basketball team that reached the 1995 NCAA tournament and anchored the school's 4x100 relay at the NCAA championships. Former Ole Miss head coach Billy Kinnard passed away Saturday, the program has confirmed. He was 84. Kinnard at his home in Fort Payne, Iowa, after battling an extended illness. Kinnard was a two-way star for the Rebels under College Football Hall of Fame coach Johnny Vaught in the 1950s, helping the Rebels win SEC titles in 1954-55 as a halfback and defensive back. The 1954 Rebels went undefeated in SEC play, falling only to Arkansas, a Southwest Conference member at the time, and to Navy in the Sugar Bowl, securing the program's first ever number 1 app poll ranking and ending the year at number 6, the program's highest such finish at the time. The 55 Rebels went 10-1, beating TCU in the Cotton Bowl and ending the year at number 7 in the polls. Kinnard was a second-round pick of the Cleveland Browns and went into coaching after his 4-year professional career in the NFL and AFL wrapped up. He worked as an assistant across the SEC, then was chosen by Ole Miss AD Frank Kinnard, Billy's brother and a Pro and College Football Hall of Fame tackle, to succeed Vaught as the Rebels head coach upon Vaught's retirement in 1970. Kinnard led the Rebels to a 10-2 record and a number 15 app ranking in 1971 before falling off to 5-5 in 1972 and an early dismissal after a 1-2 start to the 73. Vaught came out of retirement to replace both Kinnard brothers as AD and head coach. Kinnard worked as an NFL defensive backs coach after his Ole Miss ouster, but returned to the college game in a one-season stint as Gardner-Webb's head coach in 1978. He coached his final 2s as the New England Patriots defensive backs coach in 1979-80. In addition to his football exploits, Kinnard was also an All-SEC baseball player for an Ole Miss team that reached the College World Series in 1956. Not surprisingly, a quasi-holiday weekend has resulted in the latest resetting of the days without an arrest ticker. According to the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle, Wyoming's Cash Malawea pictured, No. 46 was arrested very early Saturday morning following a traffic stop initiated by the Laramie Police Department. The arresting officer charged the 19-year-old linebacker with suspicion of driving under the influence, underage consumption of alcohol and driving with no driver's license. No details of what led to the initial traffic stop have been divulged. A school spokesperson declined to address, at least publicly, the off-field development. The Tribune Eagle wrote that UW's head coach Craig Bohl was out of the state recruiting this week. After appearing in 13 games as a true freshman in 2016, Malawia again played in all 13 games for the Cowboys this past. The Compton, Cali native finished 2017 fourth on the team in tackles with 74, and was tied for fifth in passes broken up with 3. Exiting spring practice earlier this offseason, Malawia was penciled in as the Cowboys' starting weak-side linebacker. I believe some would call these fighting words, or were merely neck-deep in the offseason, one of the two. Georgia entered its college football playoff semi-final matchup with Oklahoma this past January with one of the top defenses in the country, 60 minutes, and 2 overtimes. Later, the Bulldogs had allowed 48 points and 531 yards en route to a thrilling 6-point win that earned UGA a spot in the national championship game. During an interview on ESPNU Radio on SiriusXM with hosts Danny Cannell and Taylor Zazor Tuesday morning, OU head coach Lincoln Riley was asked about the criticisms the Big 12's defenses, or lack thereof, as some would say, face on a yearly basis. To counter those critiques, Riley pointed to the very defense his Sooners statistically shredded in the Rose Bowl loss. You go throw Georgia's defense, which was a top 5 ranked defense going into the Rose Bowl. You go throw them in the Big 12 every year, they're not going to be a top 5 defense, Riley said in a quote sent to us by SiriusXM. I mean, it's just probably not going to happen. While that quote is certain to draw attention, Seth Emerson of The Athletic is here to remind everyone that there was a wee bit more to the interview than just that one soundbite, currently making the rounds. For all the headlines using the first part of the quote, perhaps some attention on the second part of the quote. That's not a shot at Georgia. They were absolutely one of the best defenses last year. It's a compliment to our league. https://t.co/6xh7bdjnhj, Seth Emerson at Seth Emerson, July 3, 2018. Party pooper. We now resume our regularly scheduled off-season, already in progress.